Okay, so I've read all the big ones. The Rich Dad, Poor Dad, How to Win Friends and Influence People, 4-Hour Workweek, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Atomic Habits, baby. Can't hurt me. Out of the ones I just named off though, I would not read this one again. If you want to start aggressively dominating life, I would start by ditching the self-help books. Now, let me explain. Okay, now keep in mind, this is coming from someone who has read a ton of self-help books, like all of the self-help books that I could get my hands on. So stick around because I'm gonna tell you what to do instead of reading these books. And then at the end, I'm gonna tell you which of these super famous books I wouldn't read again. It's gonna get juicy. Metaphor time. Imagine you bought an awesome desk and you're super excited to build this desk because once you have this desk, you're gonna be making more money, you're gonna be more productive, and you're just gonna get a whole lot more stuff done. So you order that desk, the desk arrives, you're super excited, you tear it open out of the box and you pull out the instructions and you just start reading the instructions. You're just going through it. You're going through those instructions. You don't want to miss anything, so you keep reading, and there's a lot, but you know, you're not going to miss any details here. You want to make sure you're fully prepared to build this desk. So you just keep reading, and in the meantime, you actually decide to learn Chinese and read the Chinese side of the instructions, just in case the English instructions missed anything. So now eventually, after reading all of those instructions, the day is now unfortunately over, and the desk project hasn't advanced at all. You still don't have a desk. You're super knowledgeable. You know a ton about how to make this desk in English and Chinese, which good for you. But that desk is not built yet. So this is the issue with self-help books and in general, how people interact with them. Okay, so over the last 3 months of my life, there's just been so much personal growth. And when I sort of rewinded and, rewound, that's the correct way to say it. When I looked backwards, it was like, okay, what have I been doing differently? I realized I hadn't been reading. I hadn't been reading almost at all outside of the Bible. We read the Bible every day. But that was weird for me because I had read every single day. It was my nighttime routine. Leading up to bed, I'd take 15 to 30 minutes and just read a chapter of, a self-help book. And pick one, anyone, whatever book I was on, I'd sit down and I'd read a chapter of that before bed. Now, at first I felt kind of pathetic. I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't been reading. This is not good. But then I realized what was actually happening in my life. And I think this happens to so many people. And so that's why I want to talk about it today. You see, when you read all the time, specifically for self-help or personal development, self-improvement, all that stuff, it's super easy to get caught up in analysis paralysis. This is where you just keep learning. You are learning so much. You're reading so many books. You are so knowledgeable. But that's the extent of it. You're super knowledgeable, but nothing happens with that knowledge. You never execute. And what I realized for myself, and I think it's true for a lot of people, the reason you're not executing is not a lack of knowledge. It's actually the presence of fear. Instead of just going for something, we read every single book that we can read on that, because what if we make a mistake? And what if we look stupid? And what if people think, wow, that guy was so dumb for starting a business. That guy was so dumb to start a YouTube channel, all that kind of stuff. So we just educate ourselves into oblivion to the point where we never actually take action. So what I've been finding in the last handful of months is hands-on experience, actually doing something, is so much more valuable than reading. Now there's a caveat there. I still love reading, dude. I love reading. I love self-help books. They're great. So I'm not against self-help books. I'm not saying don't ever read a self-help book again. But I am saying if you examine your life and realize that you're reading a whole ton, but not doing a whole ton, the balance is off. The only purpose for these books to exist is to push you into action. So if you're not taking any action, these books are meaningless. Okay, so in the last 4 months, I've started a business. I've started rapidly growing that business, and I haven't had a whole lot of time for reading because I've just been executing. So really the case that I'm trying to make here, and hopefully I'm doing an okay job, there's nothing wrong with self-help books. By themselves, there's nothing wrong with them. The issue is when we get so caught up in educating ourselves and becoming a better version of ourselves that we don't use what we're learning. We don't go out into the world with everything that these books are equipping us with and conquer it. Why are we alive if we're not doing anything with our lives? So do I plan to never read a self-help book again? Absolutely not. In fact, I already have my eye on one that I plan on reading. However, I don't plan to ever let reading and educating myself stop me from taking steps forward again. So to sum up this section, please just go for it. There is no level of preparation or knowledge that you can acquire that will fully prepare you for what is to come. So go ahead and just start building what you were put on this earth to build. Okay, now that we've established that I think people should pause on self-help a little bit and start executing, and that I don't hate self-help books, Now let's talk about which ones I wouldn't read again. Okay, so I've read all the big ones like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, How to Win Friends and Influence People. I don't have Rich Dad, Poor Dad right now because I gave it away to a stranger. I literally did. He was talking about self-help and I was like, hey dude, have you read this book? So I gave it to him. Hopefully he's executing and not just reading a whole bunch. 4-Hour Work Week, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Atomic Habits, baby. Can't Hurt Me. Solid. I've read a bunch of them, okay? Most of them I did find a ton of value in, I'm not gonna lie, and I would read them again once I have the time. Out of the ones I just named off though, this could just be a personal preference thing. I'm sorry, Jocko. I would not read this one again. It's good. The concept is that you need to own things. You need to own your life, okay? And that's a great thing. But it can be said pretty much just as quickly as I just said it. I love what it's talking about. It's just a little repetitive for me. And we're gonna get some haters for this one. I don't know if I'd read 7 Habits of Highly Effective People again. The first third of this book was great. And then I felt like it just wasn't very good. Also, while we're on the topic of quitting self-help books, watch this video if you want to know the disturbing reason why you should quit video games. And no, I'm not lying. Yeah, I'm totally serious. Anyway, make sure you subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment. I'll see you guys later.